The IT industry, just like any other, has its fair share of myths and legends. Today, I want to check some of the most frequent I hear. Hi, my name is Tomasz and I'm a former tech lead and manager. Today, I will be debunking 5 myths about working in tech. This is definitely something I've been hearing ever since I was a kid. Programming is all math and a very hard math at that. This is repeated like mantra even today, and while knowing math can most certainly help you spot some patterns, it definitely won't save you time you need to put in to learn program. That said, as you go, you will pick up things that are bound in mathematics. Let's say if you go to a more scientific route, you will definitely make use of linear algebra, game or complexity theory. If you dive into more visual part, you will need geometry to describe objects you are working with. But do you need a degree to work in IT? Sorry for the rhyme. No. Simple as that. I don't have a degree, and I know a lot of people who also don't have one. Sure, there are people with PhDs, and this certainly isn't a burden, but it's not a requirement anymore. Some companies, though, will require formal education on principle. This is something you simply cannot jump over. But as the time goes by, I see that even the most stubborn ones are slowly relaxing their requirements and are willing to replace education for experience. So they ask you to have like 4 years studies or equivalent in experience in the field. But you need to get these years first, right? It's 2024 and the tech industry is a very weird place. 5 years ago, getting a job as a junior developer wasn't that hard. Companies were more willing to risk hiring someone with less knowledge but high energy and great attitude. I myself hired tons of juniors because I knew these folks will be productive very soon. Today, though, it's not that simple. Interviews are hard to come by, and when you go to one, it turns out there's 5 more stages ahead, and each stage takes an hour, and on top of that, you have 3 coding challenges and an open panel. The fact is, landing a job today is hard, even for more senior developers. I spoke with a colleague just this weekend who's on the market for 3 months, and he's a senior developer. He says that he can count automated rejection emails in probably hundreds. Companies are using AI, which is far from being perfect, to screen CVs and LinkedIn profiles. Recruiters are doing the same simply due to the sheer amount of applications. But if you manage to put your foot through the door, you are golden, right? Well, no. Replacing a developer is easier than it looks, and very often companies will hire even people that are crucial to their operations. For me, letting people go was always a huge challenge, and I always did my best not to let this happen. But I know managers that will brag about firing 20 something people in one day, or will boast on how they cut costs by reducing team size from 6 to 2. So, what to do to be safe? I wish I knew. Putting good performance is definitely a good thing, but not a golden rule. As I hate to say it, keeping things to yourself is also a safe bet. As a manager, I always encourage people to speak up, but I know there are managers that will simply tell you to quit if you don't like it here. I myself heard this more than once. But there is a very fine line between speaking up and being a toxic idiot, which I frankly understood way too late. When I look back at myself, I certainly see that I wasn't the easiest to work with and the easiest to manage. I oftentimes spilled my frustration with management, with their decisions, or with their attitude on my teammates, on my colleagues. This is something that will get you through the door faster than anything else. This is extremely destructive behavior, and having someone who complains on a daily basis hinders team's morale and performance and acts like a rot. It's simply consuming everything around. All you need to do is just sit calmly and code, just serve this high payroll wave. In theory, yes. In practice, it's taxing as hell. One thing you need to understand is that you are not hiring for your programming skills. Business don't care if you know 10 languages proficiently or you can solve hard coding challenges online. Business cares for your problem solving skills. You are hired to solve problems, such as a need for a particular feature, a bug that needs to be handled, or a performance issue that needs to be optimized. Your skills will surely contribute to this, but this is where interviewing using lead code fails. No amount of solved algorithms will teach you to see customer problems. And at the end of the day, once you solve the feature, your solution gets deployed and all the clients will see it. If it breaks, they will see that it is broken and it will hinder your company's view in their eyes. They won't know that it was you, but they will know that this company had a broken website or a broken application. It is an extreme pressure, and I work here for almost 17 years and I still am extremely nervous when I put my code live. But honestly, the satisfaction of seeing things working perfectly is unparalleled. And this is the real fuel of working in IT from my perspective. Seeing things you did working perfectly for tens, hundreds, thousands, millions of customers. You know now what is important at your job. You see tasks and user stories as challenges. You spend your free time researching new stuff that might be useful. And you finally found that one library that can solve the problems you are facing right now. So you send this to your lead asking if you can implement this first thing in the morning. And they say no. Why is this idiot blocking me? Out of jealousy that I found this, not them, because they lack the knowledge, or because they are just stupid beyond reason. It's all of this combined for sure. Some time ago, I wrote a piece called Real Cost of Your Library, in which I dive deeper into the conundrums of introducing new technology into a project. But the gist is any code that is not altered by the team needs to be at least known and adaptable by them. Something perfect for you might not be perfect for everybody else. They might see some problems that you don't. Perhaps the project you want to introduce is immature, or it is poorly documented for their standards, or has poor performance under a heavy load. This is where seniority comes into play. It's the ability to judge whether a new vendor is a risk worth taking to solve problem at hand. Cost of choosing poorly is extremely high and it will plague your application for months, if not for years. Let's go back to what I've said earlier. Your job is to solve business problems, not to constantly change the insights of the product. That being said, Today's landscape definitely offers far more battle tested solutions that it did like 10 years ago. So you most likely won't be stuck with one framework for your whole career. Unless you work with Java in this case, happy springing. By the way, I really like Spring. Tech industry seems like the place to get your hands on the latest and greatest hardware, right? Well, yes and no. It all depends on the company you've been working for. Startups won't often have money to get you your brand new MacBook Pro with tons of RAM or Intel i9 laptop with 16-inch screen or whatever else you might want. Larger companies, though, will fall into two categories. They will either give you a refurbished computer or will get you a new one. I had two situations when the company just asked me what kind of computer I would like, what kind of specs would I like, and they just got it to me. I didn't want any miracles. I didn't want, I don't know, Mac Pro or something similar. I just said I need a MacBook with a decent amount of RAM and 15-inch screen, I believe. So it was reasonable, let's say. But this, as great as it was, it's not a rule. And to be frank, from my experience, it doesn't happen that often. Most of the times, you will get someone else's computer. Maybe a person that has this position before you, or just another laptop that's sitting on the shelf in that murky room that only technicians are allowed in. Bottom line is, don't get your hopes up. I work with both new MacBooks, new iMacs, and some decade old PCs that struggled with running Sublime Text and Chrome at the same time. There's no real telling on which end of the spectrum you will end up. Tech industry certainly have its fables and legends. A lot of these, though, don't make sense today. My advice is to keep your mind open, and this is kind of a sad thing, sad message to give, but to keep your expectations in check. That being said, I thank you very much for watching till the end, and I am wishing you good luck at your job.